Trading post buzzed with noise, boots scraping wood, coins clinking, men laughing loud enough to drown out anything fragile. She stood near the counter, bent like a question no one wanted to answer. Her shawl was threadbare, her hands shaking as she clutched a small cloth bundle. She spoke softly, asking for water, maybe a bit of flour. No one met her eyes. A man brushed past her shoulder as if she were smoke. Another laughed and said she smelled like the grave. The shopkeeper pretended not to hear, counting his money twice just to avoid looking up. She waited anyway. Pride had already been spent long ago. Hunger gnawed, but loneliness cut deeper. Outside, dust swirled through the open door, and for a moment she wondered if it would be easier to let it take her. She had owned things once. Land, a name people respected. Now she was just an old woman taking up space. When her knees buckled and she steadied herself against the wall, no one moved. Not one hand reached out. The room decided, silently, that she did not matter. He was the poorest man there, boots cracked, shirt patched so many times it barely remembered its original color. A ranch hand who earned just enough to stay alive, not enough to be noticed. He saw her before he thought about it. Maybe it was the way she held herself, like someone who had once stood tall. When she nearly fell, his body moved on its own. He caught her elbow, gentle, respectful. The room went quiet, confused by the sound of kindness. He asked if she was all right. She nodded, embarrassed, eyes wet but defiant. He turned to the counter and placed a few coins down, almost all he had. "Food and water," he said. The shopkeeper hesitated, then shrugged. The ranch hand handed her the sack himself. She tried to refuse. He smiled, small and honest, and said, "You don't owe me a thing." She studied his face like she was reading a long-forgotten language. Her fingers brushed his wrist, lingering, as if committing him to memory. "You don't know what you've done," she whispered. He shook his head, already stepping back, unaware that the room had begun to watch him differently. They sat outside on the porch, sharing the bread because he insisted. She ate slowly, carefully, like someone who knew hunger too well to rush it. The wind lifted her shawl, revealing a brooch beneath, tarnished but unmistakably fine. She noticed his eyes catch it and smiled, not proudly, but sadly. She told him about land lost to false papers, about a family name swallowed by time, about men who smiled while taking everything. Her voice was steady, not bitter. She asked him about his life, and he told her the truth: long days, short pay, no prospects. She listened like it mattered. When she stood to leave, her posture changed. Straighter, stronger. She pressed something into his hand, a folded paper, brittle with age. "Tomorrow," she said, "come where this tells you." He tried to give it back. She closed his fingers around it with surprising strength. "Kindness should never remain unpaid," she said softly, and walked away, leaving dust, whispers, and questions behind her. The next morning, the ranch hand followed the directions, expecting nothing. What he found stopped his breath. Rolling land stretched under the sun, fenced and alive, a house standing proud at its center. She waited on the porch, no longer bent, no longer invisible. Papers were signed, truths revealed. The land had always been hers, hidden, protected, waiting for the right moment. She gave it to him. Not as charity, but as inheritance of the heart. Word spread fast. The trading post fell silent when he returned, no longer poor, no longer overlooked. But he didn't change the way he walked or the way he spoke. He still tipped his hat to the quiet ones. Still noticed those others ignored. And the old woman, she stayed nearby, not as a shadow, but as proof that dignity can be buried, not destroyed, and that one small act of kindness can turn dust into destiny.